In your first book, War Reporter, you said that it was difficult to find the right distance to take photographs which were right, and that if you have a picture that's too pretty, it can be misleading, and all that you want is to document so that people can no longer say, I didn't know what was happening. You're a photographer, and you often say, I'm a journalist, you take photographs, you make films, you write too, and you've made films, and you've even been involved in dance. What are you after, and have you found the best way of telling the story of what's happening in war? Finding the right way of telling the story of war, it's difficult, and you have the idea that you're always taking the same pictures and telling the same dramas. And I just write SSDD, same shit, different day. In 2010, there was an American soldier in Afghanistan who crossed out that one letter and said it's same shit, same day. And it's the same story. They're just uniforms that change. There are some people who believe in certain policies. It was what Mr. Morris and what David Douglas Duncan and Mr. McCullen were saying. We're fighting to get truth through. We were fighting against deception and lies. And I think that it was an American general who said that the first victim of war is truth. And photography usually doesn't tell lies. So we're there to get the message through to politicians. We want to get them stuck, and it's not easy for them to tell lies when they send people off and see what's happening. The trouble is you're always dealing with people who think they're right. They always think that they're right and that the others are wrong. And we're in the middle. And you have to try and understand what's going on. That's what I mean when I say you have to find the right distance. It's not just a question of physical distance for taking a photo and being invisible so that the people look natural, but at the same time you have to tell a story of what's going on. And so you know that people being photographed are going to react to the camera they see. And this is difficult because things happen quickly. It can happen in the middle of explosions and shooting. Fortunately, I often think of books and photos by people who are sitting on my right, who are the ones who gave me the inspiration to do this job, and I have great admiration for them. And it's reassuring when I hear them talk about moments of weakness and darkness on the field. Now, Mr. McCullen was in Syria this year, and when I saw that, I thought, goodness me, I'll have to go off to Syria now. I mustn't stop taking war photos. I can't do that. And he's such an example. It's amazing. But sometimes you are discouraged. But, for example, in Vietnam, there was a time when there was a peace agreement in the middle of the war, and then suddenly the American cannons were no longer firing, and the village, which was just near the combat base where I was, the people there started worrying because they were used to hearing all the firing. And one of the soldiers came up, a Vietnamese soldier, and came up and said, what's happening? And I said, it's peace. And he said to me, what's peace? He didn't even know what peace was. He'd never lived in a situation of peace. And I tried to explain it to him, and he said, oh, that's not a bad idea. It sounds interesting. But I want people to leave me with my gun. You can have peace, but I don't want someone to take my gun away, because if someone upsets me, then I'm going to kill him. And so we should do it the other way around. We should do a report on peace and show it to people who are at war. And then I came back to Paris after fighting in Cambodia, and I'd had an accident, or I'd been injured, and I had plaster, and I was suntanned, and the taxi driver looked at me in the rear vision mirror, and he said, you've been off to the mountains skiing, have you? I didn't answer, because I was a bit annoyed by it, and I said, look, I want to go around this way. And he was a bit worried about this. Have you been to Switzerland? Were you in Megève? I said, no, I was in Phnom Penh. And then he said, I don't know that ski resort. And I thought, I really are doing work for bloody idiots.